So back to Manor Farm Leisure on Gary Watts' Open. There's 12 of us fishing Windmill, and I've drawn peg 13, which, to be fair, I've drawn quite a few times over the years, and never seem to quite get this peg right, to be honest. Started on the lead, and then I've had a few on lead and bread. Just fished 8mm discs, just punched 2 out on a 25cm hook length, so nice and simple. And then changed that to a little tiny method feeder, and I don't know if you noticed that I basically had a drop back, so I wound. Sometimes you get drop backs, especially on these steep shelves, and you can just wind back into your feeder. So I guess the fish may have picked it up or dislodged it, and therefore you don't want to wind back in when there's nothing on. But there I wound, and I couldn't tighten up, so then I've had to wind quite promptly, and obviously there's been a fish on. Because personally I don't really want to wind it back in if there's nothing there, because sometimes obviously something's had a go at it, hopefully they come back to it, but that's my logic. Not saying it's right, because I'm not a feeder pro, but anyway. They split the sections into 3, so basically sections were 4, 7, 34 and then 31, and then my section was Ben Suter on 10, me on 13, Andy on 26 and Chris Cameron on 29. So I had quite a tough section, and to be honest with you, Cam's fair play, he went off like a train, he really did. So peg 29 on Windmill notoriously can be quite a good winter peg, but to be honest with you, it hasn't really thrown up for a while. So decided to try and fish a real long pole. The wind did ease a little bit, so a couple of hours into the match, and decided to ship out like 19.5 meters. But to be honest with you, I couldn't quite get up into the shallow water. It was probably maybe 2 meters off the far bank. I'm not being funny, I don't think I could put another barrel up it. A, I ain't strong enough, and B, it'd just be asking for trouble fishing that length of pole. I did catch a couple of fish on it, but decided to bin it off because it was never going to be productive enough, with Chris catching what he's catching, and also Ben was catching well. So if I was lucky enough for Chris to win the match, which he did, then you're looking to maybe get the section by default. But I was behind Ben as well on 10, so I felt I was never ever going to do any good doing this, to be honest. So I went down the edge, hoping to catch some big uns, because as we all know, Windmill's got all sorts of surprises, some huge fish in here, which Catherine did catch a couple of big uns on 22. Cameron's caught 3 decent carp, and peg 26, Andrew opposite me, he's had a couple of decent fish as well. So hoping to be a little bit lucky, found 3 foot of water down the edge, which is about 1.5 meters off the bank. So just fished it in front of peg 14. Just tapped in some micros and a bit of corn and a few pellets. And unfortunately, this was the only F1 I caught. I've caught a couple of gudgeon and some roach even on pellets as well. So down the other edge, I fed a lot of bait and I just caught a couple of roach. So that wasn't the best, to be fair. But to be honest, the lakes fish really well. There's loads of people who've caught lots of F1s. So Chris has done well to get this big carp out on light gear. But as we all know, if you fish like nice balanced gear, surprising what you can get away with and what you can land. For me, definitely the rod was the most productive method. I wish, to be honest with you, I persevered with it really. I wish I fished a method, fished bread to the island like I did to begin with. As soon as that faded, then fished a little tiny method. And then definitely fishing the lead to my left in the deeper water. I did catch a few fish on the pole, but I couldn't really keep them there. I catch maybe a couple of little stockies and then unfortunately just disappear. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If so, give it a thumbs up. Got Photobomb by Gary Watts. And here's all the weights for you, so it might be worth you pausing, you can see them all.